it's Anya with the Season of Anya. Welcome back to my channel where we discuss all things yoga, magic, and witchcraft. I am here with my new friend from Mystic South 2024. We are shooting on location. I'm so fancy now. And this is Prism.
Hi.
Today she's going to share a little bit about her story and working with the goddess Kali and her experience with Tantra yoga.
Yes.
Beautiful.
Hi everyone, my name is Prism. I'm so glad to be here. I am a Tantrika and I'm just grateful to be a part of this, and I'm going to talk to you about Tantra.
Beautiful. So stay tuned and mwah. Okay, so bringing it back to all the way to the beginning, we fatefully met at that bathroom at Mystic South. You complimented me on your Ganesh necklace, on my Ganesh necklace, and I said, I like this woman. She knows what's up. I like her vibe. Tell me a little bit about yourself.
All right. So hi everyone, my name's Prism. I am a Tantrika. So what a Tantra means to live out loud. It is a ability to create your own life. Tantra is not a closed practice. There are many different forms of Tantra. You have Buddhist Tantra, like your Vajrayogini type Tantra. You have Dakini, of course, so that's more of your Buddhist sect. Mine is through Adya Kali, the 100 names of Kali. But it's also through the Mahavidya, which is her 10 faces. So when we look at Tantra in the Western perspective, immediately people respond with sex. This is sex. Because when we look at a practice that's as ancient as Tantra and as sacred as Tantra, and we put it into a society, and we struggle with consumption in this country. We struggle with insecurities and doubts and illusions and confusion, and it all takes precedent because there's so much material and want and desire in this country. And we have to perceive this because, like, we shouldn't diminish ourselves for this, but compared to other countries, honey, we're babies. We're just little bitty babies compared to some other countries. Yeah. So we're still experiencing things on a very young level. So Tantra means to live out loud, but it also is the word for loom. It means the loom. So when I think of Tantra, this is a space for you to create your connections, your beliefs, your structure, and what that looks like. Tantra also has some amazing different practices that are very, very old, but they're very, if you saw them from the Westernized perspective, they're very taboo because you have like the Agori people, and that's like the cremation grounds, and actually in the ultimate energy of that right there, her, not just her, but Shiva as well. And so it's very destruction oriented. So in this practice, it is a lot about destruction and rebirth, but in the middle, there's a process called dissolution. When we think about dissolution, how are you going to get from death to rebirth if there's not a middle part where you're breaking up the particles, where everything is being made into something else? And it's almost like transfiguration, very alchemical almost, except you're doing it in these really wild ways. There's a lot of ecstatic dance, there's a lot of mantra work, and there's a lot of breath that has a lot to do with heat. This is one of my favorites personally. So this is called the breath of Kali. You place the palms of your hands on the insides of your thighs, and you stick your tongue all the way out, and you go, and you do this a total of 21 times. You can do it much more, but this is kind of how you start. And what you're doing is you're getting your Agni moving. Agni is fire. So this is a purification fire. When we look at all of our other elements, they can be contaminated. Air, water, earth, these can be contaminated. Fire cannot be contaminated. Everything burns. So it burns or it turns to ash. It can be put out. Water can do it because these are the two heaviest elements, but also the elements as humans that we work with the most. Emotions and passion, creativity. These are what structure our everyday lives, especially as creative souls or neurospicy souls. I'm 42 right now, and I discovered I was on the spectrum 2 years ago. And it has been a hell of a ride. I've never been able to drive, ever. And I could never figure out why. So I thought for a long time it was attached to my trauma, when really it was attached to my brain. So there were a lot of things that I punished myself for, and or thought that this is part of my trauma, when really it was just part of the way my brain works. So in the beauty of that with neurospicy people, we're kind of like that eclectic, that really, really eclectic piece in magic. Taking from here and here and here and here. And paganism is a lot that way, of course. And so is Tantra in its own way, because it becomes personal. It becomes your practice, your walk in this world. So one of the biggest ways that I celebrate Tantra is something called Bhakti Yoga. So you have karmic yoga, you have the tajas and the rajas, but Bhakti Yoga is pure devotion. So a lot of people, when sitting with any of the gods, it is immediately about what they need, what they want, how they can help this person, how they can help them move on. And I started to take an early notice about a year into my practice that you're constantly getting called on, you're constantly having your door tapped on, but what about the peace? So in that, what I started to do was devotionals, poetry, writing, and I would just sit and talk to these beings. And when it came to Kali, it was her mantra. So a mantra, I'm not going to share a lot of it because it is a practice that you have to go through step by step, but I will give you her first mantra, which is Krim or Klim, depending on what part you're from. So it's either K-R-I-M or K-L-I-M. So Krim, every bit of mantra hits a different part of the mouth, which hits a different part of the energetic system. There's so much science in yoga, but when I first started doing yoga, like, I've had multiple surgeries, I've had a lot of physical health problems, I was like, I can't do that, my body can't distort that way. That is also one of those things that needs to be understood, that there are different forms of yoga. Yes. Your body doesn't have to twist into 1,000 different ways for you to be with the deity, for you to be in that energy, because of mantra. So I'm going to do a little song that I've been singing to Kali for many years now, instead of doing mantra, because I feel that there can be a disconnect, and I want you to experience and hold her energy translated enough for you to be like, well, I don't need to look up that word, right? So calling in the mother, calling her into this space. She's always with us in our heart, our soul, and our being. So holding down at the base, I hold this for Kali, because Kali is the primordial. She is the energy of survival, of the raw, of the naked, of the exposed. Here we move up to the heart, and this is Devi. And Devi has many different faces. Kali, Durga, Saraswati, there's so many different faces. And that word actually has connotations in other languages. So Devas has also been a name for God or gods in other cultures. So it's a very old word, and it's a very sacred word. So this is the mother, Deva. And as you move up, we're coming to the third eye. So this is the Shakti. And around the whole entire person or entire being in the experience is the Mahavidya itself. So Kali Ma, Devi Ma, Shakti Ma, Mahavidya. Kali Ma, Devi Ma, Shakti Ma, Mahavidya. On this last one, if you're with me, take a deep breath in through the nose, and we're going to hold it for about 6 seconds, and then we're going to release it for 8. So breathing in 4, holding for 6, releasing for 8. Kali Ma. So that is my gift to y'all.
Wow. Thank you so much for that. I was not expecting that. I mean, my goodness. Drop a comment for Miss Prism over here for sharing that beautiful devotional song to Kali. How did you begin working with Kali, by the way?
Just seeing that little, okay, so I had moved into a halfway house. So I got arrested in 2016 on a heroin charge. I came from a very rough background, left home at about 15 years old. So I raised myself, I took care of myself for years, and you just kind of, after that kind of trauma, it just keeps attracting itself. So I ended up in a very abusive relationship. He ended up in a situation, he ended up killing somebody. I ended up testifying in a murder trial. I went underground after that, and when I emerged, when I got arrested, I moved into a halfway in 2016. And one of my housemates had the cutest little statuette of Kali. And it made me laugh because the only time I'd ever seen anything about Kali growing up is, all right, now picture it. Indiana Jones and the Temple of Doom. There we go.
Oh boy.
So this is the only thing I ever saw of Kali Ma before this. The dude takes his hand, he reaches in, he rips out the heart, and he goes, Kali Ma! That was our exposure. Cults that were around in the 90s, or in the 60s, between the 40s and the 1960s in India, they would claim people's heads in the name of Kali. Wow. This was not Kali. That is not what it's about. Kali represents liberation. It is to liberate you, you from the illusion, from this fabrication of a life created from situations, people, societal norms, societal pressure. All of these kind of make up this package deal of who we are. But it's not the core or anything of who we really are. So stripping it back and looking at it, this was life. There's no other word for it. I like to say, you let the nectar of Kali drip off your entire body, because she really. It's crazy, but sometimes when you work with the primordial feminine or primordial energy in so many ways, or underworld energy, whatever you want to call it, everything has to be ripped out so you can see it, so you can look at it. And this is not a process that is by any means easy, and it can be really scary. So in this work, instead of just jumping straight into journaling, yes, I have a therapist. Yes, I've done many, many years of trauma work. But it was a place where I could scream and cry about these things. And I would literally, you know what? I'm just going to read a poem about it. So I brought this wonderful book by a great writer named Maya Luna. But everything in my spirit's telling me right now, this isn't about her work, this is about my work. So I'm going to get all brave and get my tantric state here.
Ooh, I hope this translates on camera, because I am feeling this beautiful energy that Prism created. And I mean, Kali is here with us right now. That is for absolute certain.
So, as I told you, I grew up with a lot of trauma. My mother and father were both addicts. So this is one I wrote for Kali. The love of a mother. These words spoken in a foreign language to me, mother meant confusion, hardship, pain, fear, and illusion. It was an empty place. It was a place filled with sadness, anger, and denial. It was a place where memories sparked every once in a while, but it was a place where trust went to die. Until my true mother came. Her eyes fierce, her tongue dripping blood, her grin was haunting. She reached into my dreams and pulled out a little girl, leaving oceans of tears on her lap. And deafening screams she gave back as living mantra. She taught me to chant tunes back to humanity. She taught me naked should never come with shame. She taught me walk through taller, stronger, especially when you're afraid. She taught me connection comes in all shades. She taught me to dance in such a way that my skin fell away, making love to cosmic waves of pure ecstasy. She's movement, and I became the drum. Boom, boom, bang, bang on my skins. She splits me open again and again and again, and my only response is gratitude. I love you, Mama, I say. I say her name over and over. Her many names are like waves across my lips, flowing rivers of blue Vashuti and a heart to womb dripping down my thighs. My tongue is ripped from my clenching jaw, pounding with freedom as it drops. She wraps me in lotus silk and holds me gently against her breast. She's where ferocity meets innocence. She's motherly love, and I am devoted to her, and she is devoted to me. Ma Kali Ma Devi Mahavidya, Mahavidya, Mahavidya.
Wow. Oh my gosh, that is so beautiful.
So, yeah, if you've ever been curious, or you find yourself kind of drawn in both places, both maybe in the craft, but also towards Tantra, towards meditation, towards these Eastern, beautiful Eastern, not just beliefs, but foundations. Whether you do it through alchemy or Tantra or whatever, so many of us who experience the world in a very esoteric way, we need non-duality. We need polarity. And so many of us are seeking it, and we don't know how to find it in a world where it's always trying to make you choose. Right, left, good, bad. And it's left us in such a state of chaos that even when there's connection, some people see it as disconnection. And I don't know about y'all, but I am certainly tired of feeling disconnected just because somebody has a different belief than me. That's not what we were built on. We're supposed to have a million different beliefs. That's the point. Because spirit, the gods, they don't isolate to one space. Disillusion. Dissolve what other people tell you is true and become your own living, breathing Tantra. Thank you for having me.
Thank you so much, Prism. I really appreciate your time. And is there any way anyone can connect with you?
Yes, so I'm actually getting ready to launch some classes about Kali.
Oh!
In August, called the Primordial Goddess.
Yes.
So we will be doing mantra work, we'll be doing a little bit of shadow work. We will be talking about other primordial goddesses because, you know, I'm not just one thing. So, yes, so that will be coming out in August, and it's supposed to be every Saturday, but it just depends on how fast the classes fill up. So it may just only be like bi-weekly or whatever. But so Roots to Chalice on Facebook. And if you want to just kind of hear me talk about my experiences and things like that, I have a TikTok. And I do believe that one is called Prism Hopes, because there's a lot of hope in this. And if somebody like me, who was abused to close to 20 years, can turn their life around, find self-worth, and give it back to other people, then get off your lazy ass and do it too.
Get off your lazy ass and put in the work. This is exactly why I was drawn to this beautiful soul. That is what it is about. It's about changing our narrative, whether somebody else laid it down for us or we've created it ourselves or a little bit mix of both. This is what it's about. This is about connecting with our yoga practice, our spiritual practice, the asanas, the mantras, all of it, and to create harmony within ourselves, because once we are clear, once our energy is clear, we are able to make room for others. We are able to empower others. We are able to connect with others. So there is no more disconnection. There is no you and me. It's us. It is us. And it's so often, and that was such a beautiful point you made. And just thank you for sharing your beautiful light and your beautiful energy, and much luck to you with your classes. And I hope to see you again very soon.
Yes.
Thank you again.
Thank you.
Beautiful.
I'm going to give her a big old hug because she's
Yes,
precious.
Love it.